Every single year, we see players coming out of nowhere and make analysts look asleep at the wheel.
Mel, your reaction.
Well, surprised we went ahead of Shador.
Let's take a look at the season so far and highlight 5 prospects on the rise and 5 whose stock is plummeting. On the rise, Peter Woods, DT, Clemson. Clemson's season has been short on highlights, but Peter Woods has been the one Tiger that hasn't flinched at all the chaos. While the team's playoff hopes have all but vanished, Woods continues to look like a man amongst boys in the trenches. He's not Aaron Donald, but man, he's shown the ability to bully opposing offensive linemen with more than an impressive level of consistency. Coming into the year, the scouting knock was that Woods needed to become more of an every down force. But so far this year, we've seen a player who has absolutely thrived in his role and serves as a constant headache for opposing offensive lines across the ACC and beyond. Don't be surprised if he's called in the top 15, heck, maybe even top 10 next April. Plummeting, Arch Manning, QB, Texas. Arch came into 2025 with the kind of hype that you only get when your uncles are Peyton and Eli. Your family patriarch is Archie, and the NIL deals would be, well, the envy of most pros. He was supposed to be the guy to bring Texas all the way back, but instead, he's been the biggest storyline for all the wrong reasons. Mechanically, the arm talent and athleticism are still there. You can see flashes of why he was the top recruit in the country, but the performance on the field simply isn't there. To the point that the conversation has shifted from can Arch be the next Manning Dynasty quarterback to should he even declare? On the rise, Fernando Mendoza, QB, Indiana. What a year it's been so far for Indiana and its signal caller Fernando Mendoza, even beyond their monster win over Oregon in Week 7. Calm in the pocket, quick decisions, and just enough mobility to escape trouble. The guy transferred to Indiana from Cal, and most casual fans outside of Indiana barely even noticed. But, 7 weeks into the season, Mendoza has scouts second-guessing their evals left and right. And while the blue-chip quarterbacks are stumbling, this transfer is building one of the cleanest resumes in the draft class. He's 6'5" and 225 pounds, giving him an NFL-ready frame, and, well, he's shown great poise and intelligence in the pocket and huddle alike. It's clear that he has the leadership skills needed to succeed at the next level. If the Hoosiers are able to complete their impressive playoff run, well, don't be shocked to see him quickly start to skyrocket dangerously high on many analysts and GM's draft boards. Plummeting, Kade Clubnick, QB, Clemson. It's been a tough go of it for Kade Clubnick and the Clemson Tigers in 2025. His performance last year, particularly down the stretch, gave people hope. 36 touchdowns, just under 3,700 yards passing. People started to think that he'd finally turn that corner.
I think Kade Clubnick is going to be the best quarterback in the country. Clemson is legit, at a minimum, in the national semifinal.
But this year's regression tour has quieted all of that talk. His accuracy has dipped, especially in high-leverage moments against better competition. Turnovers are piling up, and the offense across the board just kind of looks flat. Now, it's not all on him, as the line play has definitely not helped. But scouts aren't buying excuses, and now he's dropped out of many top 50 lists entirely. That's a mighty long fall for someone once viewed as a potential face-of-the-franchise quarterback kind of prospect. On the rise, Ruben Bain Jr. Edge, Miami. Miami is starting to look back as a program under Mario Cristobal's leadership, and Ruben Bain Jr. is a huge part of that. The 6'3", 275-pound edge rusher is playing with the kind of fire that makes offensive coordinators rethink their blocking schemes entirely. The guy is dripping with the U swagger, and he is answering the bell every single week. Bain has posted an impressive pass rush win rate and is racking up the pressures, making life very tough for the unfortunate tackles that draw him as a matchup. Through 5 games, he's already racked up 2 sacks and 26 tackles, and that is in spite of him being the focal point of every opposing offensive coordinator's blocking scheme. Scouts love his versatility. The kid can just line up outside, bump inside, even drop into coverage on occasion. And in a draft class short on sure-thing pass rushers, his stock is rising very fast. Every week, he brings the same violence and effort. Keep playing like this, and you'll be hearing his name called somewhere in the top 15 come April. Plummeting, Kadyn Proctor, OT, Alabama. While there's a proven history of drafting Alabama linemen, this is not Nick Saban's Crimson Tide. Kadyn Proctor entered college with the kind of pedigree that often guarantees an NFL future. Plays for Alabama, 6'7", over 350 pounds, elite recruiting status. But his 2025 film is introducing an uncomfortable question. Is size and pedigree enough to invest a top pick without elite consistency? The concerns are heightened because even last year, the hype seemed dubious and in need of proving that he he could deliver in a pro offense without a quarterback like Jalen Milroe, who could run at an elite level. This season, we've seen his hand skills, footwork, and recovery speed all be exposed. Meanwhile, Alabama as a whole has struggled to find its offensive identity. Some evaluators now view a move to guard as the more realistic path forward, where his strength and punch could be better utilized without demanding elite lateral agility. That said, there are still a lot of exciting traits to watch, but Proctor is going to really need to show it down the stretch to protect his top 10 draft status that he carried coming into the year. On the rise, Spencer Fano, OT, Utah. Spencer Fano is quietly making a case to be one of the more technically clean tackle prospects in the 2026 draft class. Not necessarily on the strength of his absurd athleticism, but because the guy almost never makes the wrong move. What makes it all the more impressive is that he's played in multiple positions on the line in his college career and been very consistent regardless of where he's asked to line up. After 12 starts at left tackle in 2023 and a switch to right tackle, Fano has quietly racked up 17 starts across 2 seasons and handled increasingly challenging matchups without breaking. Given Utah's relatively stable offense and the spotlight that's expected to fall on that unit, Fano is well positioned to quietly climb draft boards. In a class where many tackles are either boom or bust or flat out falling, his consistency may make him one of the safer bets. Plummeting, Max Klare, TE, Ohio State. Max Klare still fits the mold for an effective NFL tight end, but it has been a disappointing start to the year for him despite Ohio State's strong performance. Scouts still respect his 6'5" frame and pass production, but the modern tight end role demands a whole lot. Part of the problem is the perception. Folks expected him to explode at Ohio State after an impressive run for a 1-11 Purdue last year, but he's effectively been a non-factor in the Buckeyes offense this year, which is particularly concerning considering that he was never really known for his blocking prowess. Through 6 games, he has caught just 15 passes for 175 yards and 1 touchdown. Not the kind of production that you want if you expect to really be taken seriously as first-round material. There's still a chance that he sneaks into the first round given the comps he's drawn to guys like Zach Ertz in the past, but at some point, he's gonna have to prove it on the field, not just with his 6'4" athletic frame. If he doesn't pick it up, expect him to go somewhere in round 2 or maybe 3 at the earliest. On the rise, Carnell Tate, WR, Ohio State. There's no denying that Ohio State has turned into wide receiver U in recent years, with Emeka Egbuka being the most recent star wideout to emerge from the program. And if you look at how Carnell Tate has developed this year, well, I think you'll see why. This, of course, has flown under the radar because so much attention is paid to Jeremiah Smith, who, by the way, isn't even eligible for the 2026 draft, but if you pay attention, you will see that Tate is putting up some serious numbers and proven to be one of the top wide receiver prospects in the draft class. Through 6 games, he has caught 28 passes for 476 yards and 4 touchdowns, which matches his total from last year. And he's the kind of big play threat that NFL evaluators love. At 6'3" and around 200 pounds with no room to bulk up, he also possesses all the right physicality to succeed at the next level, especially when you factor in his length and route running ability. Tate still has some work to do, but if he maintains this pace and shows up in some of Ohio State's marquee matchups, Tate's name could vault from rising wide receiver to lock to be a top 15 pick. Plummeting, Garrett Nussmeier, QB, LSU. At this time last year, Garrett Nussmeier was the name floating in draft analysis to keep an eye on as a quarterback primed to break out in 2025. Well, fast forward to the middle of the aforementioned season, and that breakout candidate is looking more likely to break down than anything else. While early mocks showed him as a steady first-round candidate, his 2025 performance has been inconsistent, and LSU's offense has sputtered in huge moments, in large point due to Nussmeier's mediocre performance. Some scouts still see potential, but others are starting to pull back hard.
That Ole Miss tape, balls were hanging in the air. No juice on out throws. Like, it was scary.
The processing speed and pocket awareness needs some major work. Unless you find some rhythm in the second half of the season, this once promising prospect could fall into the Project QB bucket, and he might end up even missing hearing his name on day 1 altogether, especially considering the fact that at a soft 6'2" and 205 pounds, well, he lacks the prototypical frame that NFL GMs look for in their top prospects. But hey, which NFL draft prospect do you think is most on the rise? Whose stock do you think is plummeting most? Who do you think we're right on here? Who do you think we're wrong about? Was there anyone notable we may have missed? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, then hey, clicking that like button helps us out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea, because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.